Hola, everyone, and welcome to this week's live where we talk about all we can talk about dependence for the Spain digital nomad visa and what is your strategy if you're moving as a family for Spain, basically. So I know we started a little bit early than the live event, but that's just mainly because I did some error on my part of putting it 30 minutes. But definitely welcome. It's a new, like week of updates. And for people that were there on my last live stream on Sunday, um this week. Definitely, thank you so much. I'm trying to put out the full length video before the weekends, but I think I might probably post it over the weekend. But welcome, you guys. And for this week's live, we're gonna be talking about all that it is to know about your dependents and what is the strategy if you're moving as a family with the Spain digital nomad visa and here in 2026. Ayan. So sorry if I'm a little bit on edge because we're actually like traveling after this live. So I am a little bit on panic mode. Medyo ganon. But definitely, um, welcome to everyone that's already here. Thank you for being early. Let's wait for a little bit before we start, since I know that we usually post this as 7 p.m. in the Philippines. So I definitely want to give people some time to enter the live first. So if you have any questions, just leave them um on the chat and I'll try to answer them. I'll try to do some Q&A breaks, which we always do naman here. But if you're new here, welcome. And my name is Alex. I'm the person behind Ate in Spain. Natatawa ako kasi I've been posting like a lot more content, I guess, on other platforms. And some person said, in one of my photos, I think photo lang yun, tapos may, I think I was talking about how to count the residency here in Spain. And someone says, oh my God, kamukha mo si ate in Spain on TikTok. And that made me laugh. Yeah, but that's definitely nice to see that we're growing. Happy 9K, you guys. Konti na lang, abot na tayong 10K so I can create playlists of, like videos that I make here and there. But definitely welcome you guys. And before we start this week's live, um, I want to first inform you of a few good news this week. First and foremost, some good news is we got 3 approvals this week, which is a little bit crazy because they all came, I guess, January. So, ngayon medyo mabilis yung administrative process in Spain. So, if you guys already have nakabinben na appointment or nakabinbin na application, definitely it's going faster than usual. Usually with clients, about 8 to 10 business days now open na yung application nila. And that means around 11 to 12 business days, they receive a notification already. However, for my clients right now that are still pending applications, I think they're in about 10 business days na and wala pa namang nare-receive na any notifications, which is good. Always count that as a good thing because usually that means they are reviewing your file and they haven't seen anything wrong yet. And we always hope na diretsong approval, which is we get that a lot. However, there are sometimes then na merong additional document requests, especially with the ever changing na like administrative process here in UHE. We haven't had any approvals for the month of December and January in consulate because we try to avoid that as much as possible. So we only have actually two applications that were submitted there, and like both of them kind of withdrew their application. So definitely I would say to not do it from there. Ayun, kasi hindi talaga siya okay right now how they process stuff. It's very long. The 1 year doesn't count for residency towards citizenship. And then the 1 year is notoriously hard to get because of how the consulate processes the documents. Kasi ang dami nilang hinihingi doon. So, ayun. Definitely welcome you guys and we can start the live since a lot of people are already here. But first and foremost, before we start, what is the Spain Digital Nomad Visa? Short recap. So the Spain Digital Nomad Visa was launched in 2023 here in Spain. There are a lot of other European countries and other countries in general that have this system, and it's basically built for freelancers, virtual assistants, for remote workers that maybe don't want to be working from their actual home. They want to travel or they want to stay in a different country. So definitely Spain opened up its borders because it's already known as like, a tourist destination. There's already a lot of like digital nomads here before the visa even like come up. So I think they come up with this visa mainly because they're seeing na sayang yung potential if they're just like coming here as tourists, especially yung mga British or Americans that get 90 days for free like coming in. So they found a way of ano yung visa na pwede nating i-offer for those people that are already kind of staying here, so that if they want to stay here kind of on a long-term basis, it would be like good for like also our economy. So of course they launch the Spain Digital Nomad Visa. There is a minimum income requirement. It raises up every year because it's based on the minimum wage. Kumbaga kailangan you're making twice the minimum wage here if you're a single applicant. We'll talk about yung minimum income requirement including your dependents in a little bit, but definitely that is what it is. Wala siyang pinipiling niche or anything. I've seen accountants in finance. I've seen web developers, IT people like me. I've seen creative people in marketing, graphic design, and I've seen other that's like executive VA, general virtual assistant, med VAs. So wala siyang pinipili na niche, but definitely there are some niche that I see is more prevalent than others, like mga finance niche. I have a lot of clients in that niche, and of course mga IT na niche. Other than that, of course, like I said, there are an option, which I love here in Spain, that they always have an option to include your family or bring your family with you with your visa. So here, same goes with the digital nomad visa. You can have dependents. So what does dependents mean? Meaning they are financially, physically, or legally dependent on you. So mga main people that qualify as dependents are your spouse or registered partner. So it can be a legal marriage or through civil partnership or pareha de hecho ang tawag nila dito. Of course, your minor children. So anyone under 18, biologically children or adopted. We've had clients as well that have a case na adopted yung isa nilang daughter. So definitely that counts as well. They accept that. It is just a little bit more paperwork, but definitely it does work. And then of course your ascendants, so meaning your parents, only if they are in the care of the main applicant and financially dependent. So eto kasi if your parents are over 80, then that would work with no problem. Parang birth certificate lang technically mo yung kailangan. However, there are three, I would say, na complicated cases. Na main complicated cases. So first is if you are an unmarried couple. So boyfriend, girlfriend, ganyan, magjowa. So with unmarried or non-registered couples, the problem kasi is usually they ask for a marriage certificate. However, if you can prove your stable cohabitation, for your stable financial dependency, stable na joint domestic partnership, then walang problema. You can definitely show that with like joint bank accounts, affidavits, joint maybe rental contract or barangay certificate, shared na utility bills, and if you have children in common, pwede din yon. So, pwede lang na, for example, kasama yung anak nyo and yung sa anak nyo sa birth certificate niya, both names nyo yung nandun. So, definitely, some consulates are stricter than others. So, for these complicated cases, I would highly suggest sa uhe siya i-apply. Other than that, of course, we have your non-elderly parents. So, anything that's under 80, the parents over 75 are automatically considered dependent. So, if 75, 80, okay na yun. Kasi technically, yun yung para senior citizen dito. So, they understand na, okay, financially and physically dependent sa inyo yung parents nyo. However, if hindi, like let's say we had a client that was about, ang pinaka-youngest client namin is 53 years old, yung mom niya. Then, you must show that they are financially dependent, legally dependent, medically dependent, or that you have been like taking care of them. So, meaning nasa isang place kayo. So, with this, it is usually a complicated case. Like I said, sa UHE dapat i-apply yung mga ganitong cases. And there's a lot of paperwork to deal with. So, definitely, let's get on a consultation call para alam ko yung exactly i-advise ko sa inyo, if it's possible, ano yung mga document requirements. I usually give it naman on those calls. I don't, gatekeep anything during those calls. But definitely, it is a little bit harder. We've had about only 3 cases na na-approve. But like I said, if sa UHE kasi yan i-apply, like 100%, it's easier to get things done than the consulate. Ngayon, another na complicated case for dependents is, of course, your adult kids. The problem is they are legally adults, so why are they dependent on you? Yun yung case, basically, ng UHE. So, for adult kids, you have to also show na financially dependent sila sa'yo, na cohabitating pa din sila, or nasa isang poder pa din kayo. Or, of course, they're still in school and you're paying for their schooling. Yung mga ganon, it is usually an enough proof for them to get approved. However, it's also good to provide certificate of indigency or proof na hindi sila nag-work, na wala silang work, hindi sila married. Ayun. But definitely, you'll need a sworn statement usually or affidavit for this. And like I said, it is much easier to get approved in UHE for this. Other than that, since we're talking already about kung sino yung mga pwedeng maging dependents for your Spain Digital Nomad Visa, the next part is basically your minimum income requirements. So for minimum income requirements, for the main applicant for 2026, it's 2,852 euros, which is annually around 34,224 euros. For one dependent, it's 3,922, and for two dependents, it's 4,279. Paano to kino-compute? Basically, yung first dependent mo is plus 75% nung minimum wage here in Spain. Ikaw, times 200%, or basically times 2 yung sa'yo. And then for any dependents after nung una, that is plus 25% each. So if may may dependent ka na pangalawa, that's 4,279 euros. Yung susunod is 4,636, and then yung susunod 4,993 euros. And then if you have 5 dependents, that's 5,350 euros. And if 6 dependents, that's 5,707. Now, a question that I do get, which I understand, medyo confusing siya, and especially for me, I think I get this question a lot because I did bring my dog with me here in Spain. Qualified or kasama daw ba sila as dependent? So no, it doesn't count yung dogs nyo as dependent. So yes, you can bring them with. Wala siyang additional minimum income requirement. So just to get that out of the way. And then now, bakit ba dinadala nung mga digital nomads, basically yung spouses nila and stuff, the first thing that's really important to know is that actually your adult dependents have the right to work. So they have the right to work here in Spain. You as a main applicant, wala, only 20% up to 20% maximum yung pwedeng nanggagaling inside of Spain na kinikita mo. Pero other than that, your dependents have 100% full working rights. Kahit anong work na gusto nila, may baby blue collar, white collar, walang problema yan. Other than that, of course, since freelancer, usually yung mga spouses, they also have to register as autonomo if they are having some economic activity. Or actually, a thing that I just understood recently is that they can actually be a collaborator of the autonomo person itself. So that can significantly lower the taxes if wala namang work yung dependents nyo. But definitely, they will be beneficiaries of Social Security. But I would say, just based on some of the clients that I do have, it's important to keep your private insurance or at least have private insurance until you get your, I think it's called TSI. Yeah, your Tarjeta Sanitaria Individual, which is basically parang yung health card nyo. So before you get your public health card, kasi pag nag-start kayo nagbabayad ng Social Security and taxes, lahat na kayo magkakaroon ng health card nun. So under Social Security mo, yung buong family. So definitely, before makuha yung public health card, just definitely ikuha mo muna ng private insurance yung family. And then, of course, since my open work permit, the Spanish companies usually deal with the taxes. So you don't have to worry about that. And then the next is, of course, your tax benefits and deductibles, since I get this question a lot. So there is the Beckham law, which gives you the flat 24% tax. However, with the Beckham law, you don't get tax deductibles on your dependents. So, with your dependents kasi, if you're a standard tax resident na hindi under Beckham law, you get a minimum personal and family deductions. For example, for your first child, you get around 2,400 euros as a deduction from your taxable base. Dito sa annual to. So, that's why I say, nagbabayad ka ng quarterly and nagbabayad ka ng annual. Kasi sa annual mo nakukuha tong malalaking tax deductions. For your second child, you get 2,700. So, if 2,400, if isa lang yung anak mo, and then 2,700 if dalawa sila. And then, of course, for maternity deductions, you get 1,200 per year in euros as a tax credit for mothers and children under 3. So definitely consult your tax accountant about this because it's definitely will lower your overall tax deductions. And for some cases with my friends and my clients, they got actually a refund, tax refund at the end of the year instead of like may additional silang babayaran. Ngayon, so next naman is for schools and spouse job market. Since I get this question a lot, of course, the school for kids is there is public, it's free. It's high quality according to most of my clients, and then but the classes are in Spanish. So there are regional languages as well as Catalan and Valencian, but it's excellent for immersion, especially if your kids are under 10. So that's the same feedback I get. Yes, dinala nila dito yung kids without much Spanish, but just in under a year, the kids are definitely better now with with the Spanish language. Than their parents because na-immerse ka agad sila because they're using it every day. So of course, I would suggest always to keep some as well na tutukan nyo na mag-aral sila ng Spanish kahit when they're at home para hindi lang solely sa responsible ng teachers yung pag-aaral ng Spanish nung kids nyo. With clients, I even tell them na as early as nag-decide ka na okay, pupunta kami ng Spain start mo na mag-aral yung anak nyo or kayo din mag-asawa ng Spanish para at least it opens up the job market then for your dependents. Kasi the local market here in Spain, yung job market here is tough if you don't know Spanish. However, meron naman like of course the hubs like Madrid, Barcelona, Malaga, Granada, ganyan. Meron kasi siyang huge demand for English because it's touristy or, it's a city. So, yes, there are demands for English speakers. However, it is best para din kayo yung may freely makapili ng work na meron kayo at least a little bit of Spanish. And of course, with School for Kids, if balik tayo ng konti, there is a thing called concertados which is para siyang semi-private. So, medyo sometimes actually parang ano to, mga secular schools, I mean, yung mga parang religious schools, mga ganon. Parang St. Louis sa Philippines, ganon. But definitely, it is a little bit like my fee. What I've heard it's about 300 euros to 500 euros, something like that. But definitely it varies then depending kung saang city kayo. But there's also the private and international schools, which is, of course, meron sila tong in-offer na English language. However, it will run you about 600 to 1,500 per month. So best if you are only staying for maybe a year in that school. But I would suggest, kasi since for kids, this already a big move for them, just start them early as you can, as much as you can support them to learn Spanish. If you get denied, which is, if you're full in, I don't think you will be. But definitely, if you get denied, then at least they learned another language. I don't think they will be that proficient, but at least give them like some tutoring, at least an hour or two per day, depending on their age. Kasi it's definitely gonna be helpful with immersing them here. And don't think of it as well na just because they're schooling, like yung parang intellectual, mental stuff nila, but also think about them socially and emotionally. That would really help them, especially since magmo-move kayo, and I assume, their friends wouldn't be there, or, in some cases scenarios, some people that are best friends with families do move together, but still it's still better for them to learn Spanish. And they're young, so they can absorb it as faster than we could, adults. Ayon, but definitely one of the things that I also get is yung additional cost. Of course, there will be additional costs if you're moving with your family. Just the apostles and sworn translators would be more if you're moving with your family because there would be more documents. But definitely, there are certain ways how to do the application, which I do get this question a lot as well. So I want to also talk about that. However, let's answer some questions muna because I think there's a lot of questions already out here. So let's answer some of that first. Okay. 1 second. Okay. Ayan. Yes. So, depende siya sa yung minimum income requirement, depende siya, like kaya euros, how when I talk about it, kasi depende siya sa conversion rate around that day. That's why I say there is a minimum income requirement, but make sure medyo bigyan mo ng allowance yung sarili mo. So, if 2,800 something, yung minimum income requirement, go a little bit above that if you're receiving your pay in peso or in USD. Kasi depending kung bumababa or tumataas yung conversion, especially some people decide like 6 months or 3 months before their flight, diba? So, definitely, if magde-decide kayo that far in advance, baka iba na yung around that time na conversion, no minimum income requirement. Okay, next is paano po yung child na student? Need po ba enroll agad dyan sa Spain or need to find a school? So that's why we're also gonna talk about the timing because the school actually starts here at September. So if you're moving here, I would suggest if meron kayong kids that still go to school, dapat mag-move kayo at least dapat settled na kayo at August. So maybe apply at June because July, August, and December, January are the things that I usually avoid. So definitely watch out for that as well. Ayun. Okay, next natin is saan naka-base yung conversion ng income requirement? Kung ano, yung same day that they will check it, dun nila kino-convert. So, we're not entirely like sure, right? Like kung paano nila yung kino-convert. I always assume Google kasi yun yung pinakamataas yung palitan and pinaka most accurate sa forex trades. But definitely, that's why I say na dapat bigyan ng a little bit of allowance. So just 100 euros is usually enough kasi hindi naman ganun nagdidip yung peso ng in just a few months. Ayun. Hello, do you help with getting NIE numbers? I want to bring my Filipino girlfriend and child to Spain. Yes, so we do have a website. It's called www.ateinspain.com. So just fill out the form there. We help with getting your NIE, your TIE, which is your physical residence card here in Spain. We also help with like applying for the Spain Digital Nomad visa, of course, and Schengen visas. Paano na po kami makahanap ng titirhan dyan if wala pa kami sa Spain at wala pa kaming NIE? So, it does just require a little bit of planning beforehand. With some clients, what they do, especially if they're big families, they hire uh, ang tawag dito, like, yung tumutulong na maghanap ng apartment, real estate agent. Sorry, I told you my brain is a little scrambled today. But ano sila ng humahanap sila ng real estate agent so that kahit wala pa sila dito sa Spain, makakahanap na sila ng apartment or nakakapag-tour na sila ng apartment. What I suggest if you're applying in UHE is that you book an Airbnb or a short-term rental for a month while your application is pending and you use this time. Since pagka-submit mo naman wala ka nang gagawin but just to monitor, use this time to look for apartments. You can find an apartment in less than a month usually. If you have a real estate agent, even less. Like I've heard stories of same day sila na naghanap ng apartment for the first time with a real estate agent. They found an apartment, they put the deposit, and they moved in the next day. So definitely it is possible naman. Ilang taon po ang pwede mag-apply ng ganyan? For the main applicant has to be 18 years old. Okay, I think there must be news. Okay. Plan to apply in September. Pwede ba homeschool muna anak ko while we are still adjusting? So, here in Spain, actually, they don't allow homeschooling. They don't recognize it. And it's something that they also look over on the citizenship appointment. So, you have to put your kids to school. So, definitely, if mag-a-apply kayo ng September, that means they will skip one school year. Kasi if ever makukuha nyo yung result nyo probably by October and then you have to get your TIE and your padron. So there's a lot of steps afterwards that I highly like I think magkakapag-settle na kayo by December na or January. Okay, next. Where best to apply from PH Consulate ba? We're gonna talk a little bit about that later. What is your niche po and what clients do you take on? AU, US. So I take clients from all over. Right now, I'm finding na it's very beneficial for me to find clients in the EU since we are on the same time zone. But definitely, my longest client has been in the US and my niche is web developing. So June is okay to apply. Yes, okay siya, but months to avoid are July, August, December, January. Because either mabagal yung administrative process or there are a lot of holidays in between those that I don't want you guys to get stuck on limbo for too long. Okay, need po ba ITR if dito sa Philippines mag-apply? Yes po. Paano po yung child? Okay, I think I already answered that as well. like I said, there's no best month to lodge your application in UHE, but there are months you need to avoid. Okay, I think I've answered everything naman. Okay, now let's go to paano yung applications can be done. So there are options that I already drafted here. So first is yung consulate route. So if you want to apply in the consulate, it is, like I said dun sa DIY guide, it is cost effective because technically you're not moving at all yet. But beware kasi there are much stricter in the consulate, and like I said in the beginning of this life, we haven't had an approval from there yet. I haven't heard even, so a lot of people come with me that are DIYing because I do answer questions, I'm helpful, and I do the free consultation calls, so I feel like they're very comfortable asking me like these questions or sharing me their journey. And a lot of them got rejected December, January. And we have two clients that already withdrew their application. So definitely the consulate route is a little bit dicey, but if you really want na makatipid, you can apply to the Spanish consulate. Just beware that you only get the 1 year digital nomad visa, and that doesn't count for citizenship. And definitely, the thing is, if sa consulate ka, it usually is about 30 to 90 months yung processing period. So if you're in a hurry to move, it's not like a good idea. Other than that, the next strategy is all in sa Spain mag-a-apply. So sa UHE or sa UGE mag-a-apply. But basically, the whole family flies to Spain on a tourist or other Schengen visa. And then once you land, mag-apply kayo for the residency via the digital nomad. And of course, applying from within Spain gets you the 3 year residency permit. So immediately, no need na yung 1 year. And then, generally more consistent kasi ang UHE with what documents they need from you, and they are more nomad friendly than the local consulate. The risk though is technically um magastos just getting the Schengen visa than flying all of the family here. And technically, I understand some people get anxious because they're in limbo waiting the decision because it's usually 20 business days. But as soon as you submit your application naman, your stay in Spain is legally extended until the decision is made. So whether you get approved or denied, if konti lang yung Schengen visa days nyo, that's fine. Wala namang problema. Ngayon, the other thing that is being done as a strategy is yung main applicant first muna. So the process is the main applicant flies with a Schengen tourist visa to UHE. Once they are approved, they apply for the family. So, meaning sabay-sabay, technically ilalodge yung application. Kahit wala yung family members doon, you can still apply them. However, once they are approved, you still have to deal with the consulate. Because the consulate has to release them a 1 year digital nomad visa. And in some cases, they ask for like all of your documents again. And this includes your income tax return. So beware. So for me, to be honest, as much as possible, avoid to deal with the consulate because it's a lot of work and a lot of headache in the long run. But definitely, bakit kailangan yung 1 year? Because before, pwede lang na Schengen visa. Pag na-approve sila, magfa-fly lang dito with a Schengen tourist visa and they're fine. However, ngayon kasi, hindi sila nire-releasean ng TIE, which is your physical residence card, as long kailangan meron silang 1 year. Yes, 3 years pa din yung binibigay sa kanila dun sa physical residence card kasi na-approve naman sila ng UHE. Pero kailangan ng 1 year for some reason. This is just the new rules, you guys. And then of course, there is this fourth tactic that we use with clients as well, is that mauna yung main applicant or the husband and the main applicant, they submit just themselves. So kung sino lang yung nasa Spain at the time of the submission, sila lang yung mag-a-apply. And then once they get approved, the other family members fly to Spain. So, then nandito na sila sa Spain, all with a tourist visa as well or a visit visa. So, once nandito na sila sa Spain, then tsaka sila i-apply. And then, that is a smooth process for you. Usually naman kasi, as long as na-approve yung main applicant, approve na din yan, yung dependents, as long as you meet the minimum income requirement and meron kayo ng documents. So, I tell people not to worry too much. And we've already employed this tactic with another client and it worked. So, thankfully, it is a good tactic that bypasses dealing with the consulate. But definitely, the thing that I already like I discussed, yung approval kasi is just a approval PDF. Wala kang fingerprint doon or anything. So it's not official until you get your TA card, which is your physical residence card. And in this physical residence card, yan yung magagamit nyo to go in and out of Spain. So you don't have to worry about a Schengen visa anymore. So as much as possible, even though you got approved, stay inside of Spain until you get your TA. So that's just a reminder I tell everyone. Let's answer some of the questions first before we move on to the timeline and the timings of stuff because I saw a lot of questions coming in. We're a family of four based in Dubai. Ano po suggestion nyo to apply in UHE or sa Philippine Consulate? Always UHE, especially nandyan na din naman kayo sa Dubai. Most of our clients that are from Dubai, that's what they do. Kasi madali lang kumuha ng Schengen visa. Kung sa OHE, need po ba ng ITR? Mag-show na ng income requirement or pwedeng from January, March lang muna. So in OHE, you don't need your income tax return but you do need your certificate of registration. Okay, next is, totoo po ba malaki ang binabayaran na tax ng isang digital nomad? I did have a full-on video about this and I am working into having someone on the live that explains the taxes because I do have a tax accountant because I don't want to deal with that because that's what I always recommend to people na do not deal with it, for the first ang tawag dito, for the first year at least. Kasi hindi mo alam yung language, hindi mo alam how the taxes work here. So as much as possible, hire someone else to do it and hopefully it would work out, tama yung pagka-register sa'yo and all that. So ayun, that's why I always tax accountant muna. What months to avoid? So July, August, December, and January. Okay. I think other than that, pwede po ba mag-apply as employee sa Athens Paid kapag makadating na po kami dyan? I don't, guys, I told you, this is like more of a passion project and I really don't know how to pay you guys. You saw my prices. It doesn't make sense. For me, this is just more of helping other people and, karma farming. Nagfa-farm ako ng good karma and hopefully that does well. It is doing well. I feel entirely blessed. I feel like it's so much easier to wake up every day, to work every day doing this. Ang dami nagtatanong sa akin kung hiring ba kami sa Athens Wait. So, we're not. We don't want to become a big agency. Kasi mamaya pag big agency na ako, like, baka lumaki yung ulo ko, hindi ko na kayo pansinin, di ba? So, alam mo yun, I don't want that. I want, as much as possible, to still do the free consultation calls, to still do the lives. It's something I enjoy doing. I enjoy helping people, hearing about, your plans and stuff like that. So, I don't want it to become big. So, that's why we only take a limited amount of clients as well. Kasi tao lang ako. I don't want to burn out. And, of course, like you, GDPR-wise, I cannot share too much information to too many people. May trust issues ako, guys. Ayun. Pwede ba mom and dad first since dad ang main applicant, then apply for the two kids? Yes. So, like I said, dun sa, depende yan sa tactic nyo. But most likely than not, mom and dad first muna yung mag-fly in. They get approved, they get their TA, and then maybe balikan si kids, and then come together, and then tsaka i-apply yung kids. I'm meeting the minimum income requirement for me and one department. LGBTQ married in Taiwan, do they accept it? Yes, they do. So we've had a lot of clients. We've just had an approval actually at the month of January. So December sila na-apply, na-approve sila ng January. Uh, dependent can work po ba even highly skilled professional? Yeah, they have open work permit. So, lahat ng job is available for them. Um, okay, next is, need po ba sa ITR mag-reflect yung minimum income requirement? Kung magkano exactly yung kinikita mo, yes. Kailangan yun yung lalabas sa ITR if you're applying in the consulate. However, in UHE, they don't look for the ITR. Need po ba mag-apply for Schengen visa kapag approved na under DNV? It depends. Pero definitely, you need a Schengen visa to come inside of Spain. Pero kung approved ka na under DNV, you have to wait for your TIE. So like, that's why I am emphasizing to you guys na yung TIE is very important to have kasi yan yung may fingerprint ka tsaka ka palang pwede mag-go in and out of Spain. So it doesn't become official until you have the TIE. May required years of experience na ba working remotely? Not working remotely, but it does require 3 years of work experience. So let's say accounting ka sa government for 2 years, 1 year ka na working remotely, that counts as 3 years of work experience. Or of course, you can use your diploma. Then you don't need the work experience at all. Does 100% income need to be coming from the remote work? Is it okay to have other source of income? They based it on contracts, COEs, pasok ng pera, matching those contracts. So it has to be all from remote work. Hindi pwede yung business or anything like that. So this year, ate, need namin mag-apply on May since the other months are to avoid po. Yes, definitely. Okay, thank you. Thank you then so much. Thank you for saying thank you. That's so nice of you. Okay. Okay, I think that's it. And now we can go to how to strategize with your timeline. So, generally speaking, what I tell to my clients always is you have to decide kailan ka mag-apply. So, like, for example, let's take for example yung another person that's here. So kung May kayo mag-a-apply, that means give yourself 2 to 3 months, especially if magdi-DIY kayo, 2 to 3 months to gather all of your documents for DNV. Now, if sa UHE kayo mag-a-apply, dun sa beginning ng 2 to 3 months, dapat meron na kayong Schengen visa. So allow yourself about a month to apply and ready yourself for Schengen visa. Huwag kayong kumuha ng documents until meron kayong Schengen visa. And same goes, if sa consulate kayo mag-a-apply, make sure you have your NIE first. So, your NIE mo, kinukuha to sa consulate. And we have this step-by-step on our free DIY guide on the website, www.ateinspain.com. So, sayang naman yung DIY guide kung hindi natin gagamitin. But definitely, andun yung step-by-step, whether sa consulate kayo or sa UHE. We are updating it, so we might launch the updated version on Monday. But definitely, yun yung timeline nyo. So, give yourself 2 to 3 months. If sobrang expert kayo or you're with a consultant just like me, 1 to 2 months is enough. But definitely, I don't onboard anyone that's less than a month na yung application because, my God, you cannot rush both of us. I don't want to get stressed and I don't want you to get stressed. What if I already have NIE already, then I decide to apply no he, would it cause any problem? No, because you just have to fill out the forms with your NIE. Um, Ate, if applying for Schengen, do we need to obtain other visas first to strengthen the application? That usually strengthens the application, but we've had a lot of clients na na-approve because we have already, because we just launched our Schengen visa like service last November. And we already had about 25 families for na na-approve. And most of the time, wala silang masyadong visa. Wala silang Japan or Korean visa. They just applied with the Schengen visa. Or they had like travel outside na maybe Hong Kong, Taiwan, ganyan. But definitely they get approved. So, ang tinitignan talaga dyan more of yung travel history, more than travel history, I mean. More than travel history, ang tinitingnan talaga dyan yung savings, yung proof of ties nyo. So, and of course, kung gaano ka-stable yung job nyo. Miss, do you consult? Yeah. So, I do have free consultation calls for 30 minutes. You just have to book at www.atainspain.com/survey. We have it on the website as well. It's very easy to see there and I hope it's easy anyways to look over the website as well. Is June okay to apply? Yes, okay naman yan as long as beginning of June. Wag lang kayo mag-dip into end of June kasi umaabot na siya ng July and dyan na nagsa-start bumabagal na sila. Ayan. Okay. Sport. Ate, about Schengen, do you have consultation or rec to purchase assist po? No. We also have a free discovery call for Schengen. And you're gonna talk to Avi, which is my very good friend. She's also here in Spain under the digital nomad visa. And she's my very best friend. She's actually the one I'm meeting. That's why before this after this live. So we'll be traveling together, just doing some work stuff on the side, but definitely you can book a free consultation with her as well for the Schengen visa. And she gives you kind of a realistic idea and ano din yan eh. We shared both the passion of helping people, of course. And yeah, so you can definitely check that out as well on the website. My suggested amount of money sitting on the account to start with Schengen visa for family of four. So we do have a Schengen visa bank calculator. So I will actually show you guys more than anything. Wait. Think it will be much better to show you. So if you guys come here, a bit closer. Sorry for my clutter, I know. But if you come here, one second, close that. So if you go here sa Schengen Visa Bank Calculator, you can actually see, like for example, ito. So where are you flying for? Philippines, Manila, or Cebu? And then the Schengen country, for example, is Spain. And then, for example, family of four. And then let's say you're applying for 15 days. And then you can calculate here, magkano yung dapat na savings target mo. So here it's 1.5 million. And then meron yung breakdown. So hindi gawa-gawa. So yeah, like I said, I'm a pretty decent web developer. So I created this with my partner's help as well then. But yeah, he is really good at it. And also this Euros and PHP conversion is live. Like this is like kung ano yung conversion today. So it's very easy to check that out. And of course, the Schengen visa package is here and you can book your free discovery call clicking this button. And then for digital nomads visa services, you can see the breakdown here and then get a free consultation by clicking here and you just fill it out. And same with pet travel assistance, you can get a quotation and you just fill out stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of forms to fill out on the website, but that's just mainly so because we cannot give a quotation or give you a consultation without knowing you a little bit. So definitely on the website, one of our privacy policies under EU GDPR consent, so we don't share this with anyone naman. Actually, it's just me and my partner that has access to our CRM. Ayun. But yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I feel like it's very helpful. Medyo nakakahilo po yung gumagalaw na monitor or phone ba yun? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for that. Pag mag-apply po ng Schengen visa, as tourist lang po ba, need i-mention apply for DNV. So for all intents and purposes, you're just going as a tourist. And then, ate ba, okay, I think I've already answered that as well. Sorry kung nakakahilo pala siya. Yung November, December po ba to avoid din for DNV application? December and January. So, not November. But I hope hindi kayo masyadong nahilo. But yeah, you can definitely look out for ano. And also the DIY guide is here. Up here then. So just click on the DIY guide, click here to get access. You fill it out with your first name and your email and you get access to it. Ayun. But we're updating that on Monday. So you can definitely check it out on Monday maybe. Um okay, save still November. I thought I need to rush to May. Yeah, you can do November. Thank you for answering. Very helpful. Nag-book na po. Thank you. Hope to see you soon. April pa yung next available for consultation. Yes, I'm really sorry, but I can only do 6 calls a day. I can't do more than that. I will go insane, you guys. So sorry talaga if it's a little bit far off. And also I do still have my normal, like VA job. So I can only do, because yung 30 minutes na yan, to be honest, I block out almost an entire hour. Kasi ang daming questions pa din eh, kahit after the, qualifying you, explaining to you the step-by-step process and stuff like that. So I tend to block the whole hour para kung napasarap tayo ng kwentuhan, walang problema for the next call. But definitely, I'm trying to see also if there's a more efficient way to do it, because I don't want to do it for a fee. To be honest, I don't want to do the like a paid consult. I want it to be as much as possible. Everyone will be able to avoid to like to avail it. But while waiting, you can just look at the DIY guide so that when we got on call, we'll just answer yung pinaka mga important questions as well. We do have a paid emergency consultation, but it's usually for if emergency, like mag-a-apply na kayo soon and hindi talaga kayo makahintay and stuff, then yeah, definitely. Or for example, mag-a-avail kayo nung package, nama-minus naman yung emergency consult fee for that. But definitely we have to get on a consultation call first, because the reason why I have 100% approval rate is because I will give you like your chances. Ibibigay ko yan sa'yo for real. Like, kung you have high chances of getting approved or not. I'm not gonna lie to you or anything like that. Other than that, family of four, two kids, ages 7 and 3. Do you have services to assist only in looking for apartments? I don't po. I'm sorry. Um, how much yung DNV package with one dependent? So we do have it on the website. So you can definitely check that out depending kung ano yung ano mo dun. At if November mag-lodge, when should I avail your Schengen and DNV assistance? So like I said, I would go, maybe let's get on a consultation call 6 months before your application, and then I can give you your proper timeline. Usually we would go maybe 4 months before your lodging your application, then we can do Schengen and DNV as well. Okay. Need po ba andyan pag mag-lodge ng application? Yes, you have to be physically inside of Spain. That's why we put emphasis dun about dun nung pinag-uusapan natin yung strategy, kasi kailangan nasa inside of Spain ka when lodging the application. Okay, let's go now for yung timeline. Give me 1 second. Hey, so if magdi-DIY kayo, something to really think about is yung timing for your documents, like your apostles and your sworn translations. Because, dapat last 3 to 6 months pa na-issue yung birth certificate, marriage certificate, ganyan. So, don't go above that, like a year before. So, kaya ko din sinasabi na wag kayo kumuha ng documents until you know when you're flying to Spain. Because otherwise, baka mag-expire lang documents, then you have to get it again. And then, yeah, definitely order brand new certified copies. Usually, now order na to sa PSA online na may kasama ng apostle. So, definitely do that as well. And of course, like I said, with the schooling ng kids, usually, dapat ang main application period is either, I would say, May or June, para may ample amount of time kayo to get settled as a family. Kasi ikaw din, girl, like, you will go crazy trying to figure out everything. So, definitely, mas better if you include your whole family sa timeline. You know, like, ano yung time din nila to adjust? Ano yung time mo to adjust? So that when you with your kids na under the DNV, at least may time din sila to adjust to Spain before enrolling them or getting them in school come September. Other than that, of course, yung driver's license for people, you can actually exchange your Filipino driving license here in Spain quite easily. It is a little bit of a online process na eh. So, medyo madali lang siya. And actually, you can rent a car with just your Philippine driving license. So it's kind of easy naman. Other than that, of course, the private health insurance, I already like told you guys, dapat ito hangga't wala pa kayong TSI or yung tarjeta sanitaria individual, do not let go of your private insurance yet. So other than that, of course, if you're moving your pets, there is insurance as well for your pets. And now legally you're required to have civil liability insurance, which basically means if may nakagat yung aso nyo, kailangan may insurance to cover that. So watch out for that. But definitely yung insurance for their health, it's not mandatory. And of course, yung empadronamiento. Most of the time, you cannot do anything without empadronamiento. Empadronamiento basically means barangay certificate. Parang ganon. Parang ito yung census na nagsasabi saan ka nakatira. And this is very important because usually this is your full proof na document that shows na you have been living in Spain for the last 2 years for us Filipinos na mag apply for citizenship after 2 years. So, yun yung mga, I would say, main stuff that you have to check out when you are deciding for your timeline. So, importante na meron kayong makuha agad na long term. Kasi kailangan 6 months or a year yung makukuha nyo na rental agreement. Ano pong salary requirement to be a digital nomad? So right now it's 2,849. So we do have that on the website as well. Annulled only child is no longer a minor. May chance pa ba? With your child, so if it's your only child, if below, like I said, this is one of the complicated cases, so will definitely be better if we get on a call. So I'm not sure kasi sino yung dadalhin mo if ever na dependent. Private health insurance international dapat to, no? Yes. Or at least recognizable here in Spain. Ayun. Ate, about SS certificate, how did it go from client recent approvals? Ni-require talaga siya. Yes. So, isa lang yung proof of self-employed registration na hinahanap nila recently. So, if you have SSS, if you have BIRCOR, pwedeng yan. May inaccept din sila na mayor's permit and DTI registration recently. Ayun. But thank you so much, guys, for bearing with me. I know it has been a little bit of like all over tayo ngayon. Do you know of digital nomads from the Philippines who already got Spanish citizenship? Right now, it's taking a little bit longer the administrative process, but I think it's because there is a bulk of not just Filipinos but also LATAM countries that are applying, but it's taking about 6 to 8 months. So I know people that already have lodged the application, but not that already got approved for like citizenship. Okay, give me 1 second. May pinapa-puzzle sa akin si ano. Give me 1 second. May pinapa-puzzle si TikTok. Okay, there you go. Ayan. Other than that, so if may BIRCOR, okay na yun. Yes, definitely. Um, Other than that, I think we've talked about everything. Tignan ko lang yung kodigo ko, guys. Kasi, sometimes I steer off ng ano, ng pinag-uusapan. I think we definitely talked a lot about it. So if you guys have questions, just leave them down below. Hello ate, pwede ba pag kulang sa requirements, pwede ba yung other passive income? No, you can't. Like it has to be from contracts and your bank statement, their payslip, COE. So it has to match those. So you cannot just yes, if kulang to about 200 euros. So right now, if kulang ka ng 200 euros, pwede mong i-make up yon with savings. So how it's done is you have to show savings of 200 euros or magkano yung kulang mo times 36. But anything bigger than that, 500, just because I get this question, when I say maximum 200, then people ask, what if 500? So if, of course, higher than 200, no, you can't do it with savings. That's too risky of a plan. Ayun. Hello po, nag-travel agency po kami, group tour. Wala pong ITR required. Yes, walang ITR required for Schengen visa. But for the DNV, they ask for a proof of self-employed registration. If we want our parents to come to Spain as our dependents at a later stage, what's the process? You just basically add them to the application afterwards, but they only get the remaining months or years that was in your initial authorization. May mga cases ba na nasa Spain na tas may hinahanap na requirement na need uli kunin sa PH? Yes, but that's why I say to avoid July, August, December, January, because otherwise there's not much changes that they employ out of a whim. But usually around those months they do, because either they change the UHE director change, the consulate like general change, or they just change the rules, or of course, tumaas yung minimum income requirement and stuff like that. So, yeah, there are some cases that we dealt with that was a little bit stressful like that. But with clients, I have my mom kasi still in the Philippines and she lives in Manila. So it's kind of easier to help clients out with that. And we just provide her with authorization letter and the copy of their IDs. And then everything's all good. Okay lang ba sa contract nakalagay parang on-call, walang fixed hours? Ganun kasi dalawang clients ko. So, it would actually depend. But if wala ka kasing fixed income, then it's hard to show stability of your status as an independent contractor. Yeah, but definitely o puwede kaya yung digital marketing agency income namin, dalawa kaming business owners nun. So, is it a partnership or is it a sole proprietorship? If it's a sole proprietorship and it's under your name, you cannot declare it, unfortunately. However, if it is a partnership or a corporation, then yes. But how it's done is that you are under employment on of that corporation or partnership. Wait lang, ah. Okay lang po ba yun? Group tour Korean visa through agency, hindi daw required ITR. Oh, I'm not sure with Korean visas. Yung isa naman pong client full-time siya. Yeah, that's good naman. Pero definitely you have to give them some sort of show the how stable your clients are. In total, how long did it took you from start gathering ng requirements to actual flight migration nyo po? I think it took me 2 to 3 months because I DIY'd the whole process. It was 2 to 3 months once I decided, okay, I'm gonna start gathering them. Maybe it's just 2 months actually, like 2 months, and then I pre-booked the BLS appointment because I applied in the consulate. Eh. And then I submitted it, and it took like 14 business days for them to, or 17 business days for them to come up with a decision. And then I flew the month after. So it all went very fast for my case. And I shared it out there then online, on my timeline and process. And that's how Ate in Spain started. This is all about the community and trying to as well answer your questions, and make it a little bit easier for the next person to apply. Okay. Ola, nag-a-assist ka din ng request and apostle ng certificate of good standing for US clients. Yes, but that's more for my clients. So I don't do it separately. So I just do it for my clients lang. Um, how to apply po for Spanish visa? It depends what type of visa. So we're talking about the digital nomad visa po. And definitely we have a DIY guide on the website for that. Okay. Applying for Schengen po, pag may ITR and COR, need pa ba i-pass contracts ng employers? I have to. No, but you have to show yung COE, invoices and payslips, and LOA, yung leave of absence mo if mag-absent ka man. I see. Best po kaya diretso na mag-apply ng Schengen visa sa Spain. Yes. So, Spain recently, medyo madali sa kanila. I'm not sure why. A lot of people, a lot of forums say mahirap daw sa Spain. But with our clients, they always get 90 days. And most of the time, multiple entry pa. Pag sa UHEPA mag-apply, need ng NIE, kuha na while nandito sa PH. Yes, kuha ka na while andyan sa PH, mas easier to get it from there. If you are DIYing, yes, you need your NIE. So that's why you need to get the DIY guide. It's for free. Just see there, nandun yung step-by-step ng process. But if you're with a consultant, it works differently. Like with my clients, the NIE comes afterwards. Sa approval na yun. For DFA Apostle, need po ba mag-set ng appointment or pwede walk-in? Need mo mag-set ng appointment always. In case po ma-approve ng 3 years then gusto bumalik ng PH for good, okay lang din ba? If you're already a citizen, yes, but you need to make sure to keep your citizenship active by using your passport or voting. Applying for Schengen po, pag may ITR, oh, okay, I think I answered this already. Okay, ayun guys. If you guys have no other question. Oh, thank you, Ate Alex. Oh, thank you then so much. But if you guys have no other questions, definitely, thank you for coming to this live, for staying here, for us having fun here. And thank you so much then for giving all your questions. It's definitely gonna help the person that's gonna be watching this, because we do upload the long version, like itong full version nito on YouTube. So definitely watch that out. We have a lot of already previous lives that's uploaded on there. Usually by Monday ko to na-upload. But definitely thank you so much. And if you guys have other questions that maybe I have missed or baka maalala nyo, just leave them on any of my videos and I'll try to answer them naman. Thank you so much for watching. And again, I'm so blessed to have you guys. And just check out our website because it has everything naman that is like that. We're trying to make a frequently asked questions, but also join our Facebook group. We have a DIY Guide Facebook group, so definitely check that out on the link in my bio. Everything is on there. The communities, the group chats that we have. Definitely. Thank you so much for sending that cute little cat. But thank you so much, guys, for watching, and I hope to see you on our next live, which is every Friday at 7 p.m. And thank you so much for watching. Ciao!